Hello, welcome. So we're going to do an integrated mindfulness practice together, and I'm going to say a couple of words about what we're going to do. But maybe we'll just right away take a moment to settle in. Notice what it's like to be you in this moment. Recognizing what it's like in the body and the mind and the heart. And perhaps just noticing this quality of awareness that is self-reflective, that we call mindfulness. Has a lot of other different names from different traditions, but just recognizing that you set your intention to be aware of what's happening in this moment. And so you have this capability of the mind to be aware of external objects and also aware of the mind itself. And so just really briefly, if you're watching this video and haven't really looked at some of the earlier ones, this integrated mindfulness means that we're using the tools of what's often called deliberate mindfulness, pretty much what we learn in MBSR and most other mindfulness settings. We're using the tools of deliberate mindfulness in the service of connecting to this broader awareness, and those approaches are sometimes called effortless mindfulness or non-dual. So we're integrating these approaches. And so for today's practice, we're going to use a little bit of a metaphor that hopefully will be helpful for you. And we're using deliberate mindfulness right now to just be aware of the entire body as it is, sitting, breathing. And tuning in this capacity that's there, either very apparent or in the background, to just allow whatever's here to be here just as it is without needing to fix it. Feeling the aliveness of the body just as it is. Perhaps noticing the movement of the breath and the sensations of the breath. With no sort of explicit focus. Just allowing those sensations to come into the foreground of awareness. And so the tools of deliberate mindfulness use the capabilities of the mind, such as attention, kind of deliberate intentional action. And when it comes to experiencing this broader awareness or non-dual or effortless mindfulness, well, it's right there in that word, effortless. It's more a matter of letting go, releasing, non-doing, non-trying, all that paradoxical stuff. How do I do non-doing? So that's what we're going to explore today with this metaphor. So this metaphor uses an image of a toy boat. So I know when I was a kid, there was a big park where people would go with these toy sailboats, and there was, kind of a large pond that you could walk all around, and you would set the sails on the sailboat and put it down in the water. And the idea was to set the sail so it would actually get to the other side. So this required some awareness or mindfulness of the wind, of the boat itself. Kind of had other things if your boat was like sophisticated, you had a rudder and other stuff. So you would set the sails and then you'd put it down. You actually had to let go. You couldn't push the boat across the little pond because you'd be in the water. So that's what we're going to do with this practice. So the setting the sails, if you will, is giving yourself a few moments to notice what's going on in the mind and heart. Very often there's competing interests, so they may be pretty strong. You may have thoughts that keep coming up about something, some memory or anticipation of something, or they may be subtle. Even thoughts about the meditation and how you have to do it. And so then the kind of setting the sails here is to listen to those parts of the mind that have a different agenda rather than opening to this awareness. So just noticing right now what's there, what might be distracting you, what might the mind and heart want to do that is different than just opening to this present moment. And letting those patterns and intentions know that you'll come back to them later. And it's perfectly okay if they just take a break for the next 10 to 15 minutes. And really try to feel that. We're using deliberate mindfulness here. Really try to feel that sense of it's actually okay to let go of all of this other stuff. And then when you're ready, you'll put your little boat down after you set the sails. Completely release and let go. And open to this presence, this loving presence that's already here. Not trying to make anything happen whatsoever. So it takes a little courage. Opening just to how things are, whatever might come up. Okay? So getting ready now, setting the sails on your boat, noticing competing interests and thoughts that might be there. Having a heart-to-heart with yourself that it's okay to let go of those. Whenever you're ready, putting your little boat down, allowing things to evolve as they will. And slow noticing if there's an intention or trying to paradoxically keep this letting go in place, noticing that that is already the boat going aground, so to speak. As soon as there's effort that comes up that says, oh, there's something here, I'd like this to continue, that's the boat getting blown over by the wind, getting caught at the edge of the pond. It's no longer under its own power. The minute that we engage with that, not a problem. So we're really, if you take this metaphor, we're really actually not in control of what happens. And this sailing to the other side, the connecting with this peace and joy that is already there, this awake awareness that is already present and peaceful, is not something that the doing mind can create. It doesn't know anything about it. But the doing mind can talk to itself and agree that it's not going to interfere or doesn't want to interfere. This awareness already knows what needs to happen, so to speak. So we just do it over and over again. Take a moment to set the sails, notice that sense of conflict or wanting to control. When the moment comes that you feel, all right, there is this kind of settling, agreeing to not try to make things happen. You're putting your little boat down, letting go, just seeing what's here, and just repeating. Whenever you get caught up, and sometimes it can seem, as we're, let's say, successful with that letting go, that nothing is happening. And so there may be a sense of the mind, now what? Or what do I do? Or nothing's happening. So just inclining towards a sense of that's okay, but maybe being alert for a sense of either subtle peace or joy or non-worry or non-anxiety, non-wanting, the absence of all that kind of disturbance. Not trying to make it happen, connecting with what's already here. As we're letting go of that boat, we're recognizing and deeply understanding that in this moment, there really is nothing to solve. There's really nothing to fix in this moment. And so each time the mind gets busy, wanting to do or fix things, wanting to control the meditation, or just wants to think about stuff and really get involved in it, noticing what that feels like. It itself is not a problem, but just kind of recognizing, isn't that interesting what the mind is doing? And your particular mind, it probably has, particular favorite patterns. And so we're not trying to destroy those patterns, get rid of them, but acknowledging them and deeply understanding that they're not needed right now. So that's the resetting the sails on the toy boat. And when you feel there is that agreement or deep understanding, putting down your boat, so letting go. Letting the next moments happen without your control or direction. So the parts of you that feel they need to control the meditation, or it will totally fall apart, or whatever it is they think, so they might be amenable to just taking the next 2 minutes off. That's all there is. Okay, just 2 minutes, letting the controlling part take a rest, letting the mind fall completely open. Recognizing this loving presence, awareness, intuitive, that's already here. Okay, so as you're ready, maybe stretching a little bit, moving around, opening your eyes if you had them closed. So that could be something you could experiment with here and there. It could be a really short period of time. It doesn't need to be even a 25-minute meditation. And one thing I think might be helpful to mention, both I say from my own experience, but also reading interchanges between teachers and students, that frequently this recognition of what it's like when there's no doing needed, when the mind and heart really have let go of this great need to be controlling or doing. Initially, that seems to correspond with very few thoughts, or thoughts almost stopping. So you might, and I think this is where a lot of the confusion around thinking comes up, that you might think that then the idea is to try to stop thinking. And that doesn't work at all, which you probably know from any deliberate mindfulness. But in particular, trying to stop thinking is the most controlling thing you can possibly do, right? So that really is solidifying a sense of me, and I've got like so much control. I'm even going to stop the thinking process, and that somehow that's going to be how I connect to this open, intuitive awareness that's already here. That's definitely not a pathway. So that's good news. You don't have to try to stop thinking, largely because it doesn't work anyway. However, some of what we talked about there, and then actually using kind of, we're not moving around, a kind of a quiet meditation, can usually help the thinking to be less and less. And then that background awareness, this sense of peace or joy. It's almost like the stars coming out when you turn off the lights in the backyard kind of thing, becomes apparent. And then as we're more attuned to that, we can connect, recognize, even in the midst of the noise of thinking or the busyness of moving around. But initially, at least, it seems to be that we kind of need thinking to get quieter and quieter to connect. And then that connecting with that awareness, as I said in the meditation, at first it can seem like there's nothing happening. And that's actually a kind of a good marker for you, this sense of, oh, nothing's happening. The mind might even say to itself, gee, nothing's happening, or what do I do now? And, you just thank that. That's the controlling mind coming back. You say, thank you, mind. You don't actually need to do anything, which especially in our culture is just like so non-intuitive. It's so ingrained in us to be doing, to be alive, to be, doing is the only way to make the most of each moment. So we kind of don't believe it's okay to actually put everything aside, which is why I keep emphasizing that. So hopefully it's helpful to you. So I have a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh that is, largely in the space of kind of what we've been practicing. And he says, peace can exist only in the present moment. It is ridiculous to say, wait until I finish this, then I will be free to live in peace. Whatever that this is, whether it's a diploma, a job, a house, the payment of debt, if you think that way, peace will never come. There's always another this that will follow the present one. If you're not living in peace at this moment, you will never be able to. If you truly want to be at peace, you must be at peace right now. So I don't think he really means if you're not at peace at this moment, you will never be able to. Quite as harsh as that sounds, it's a little bit more of what we were just talking about. The fixing, a doing mind that sets up a kind of a goal, like a goal of stopping thinking, will just come up with another one after that, because it believes, also what I was saying before, that to value or make the most of your life or this moment is doing right now. And of course, we're not talking about going into a coma and not accomplishing anything, but the more that we connect with this awake, intuitive awareness, that is actually the source of creativity and connection and forward movement that's going to be more productive, and that can use the kind of doing, fixing mind as a tool rather than that tool kind of driving our lives and setting up continual goals, as Thich Nhat Hanh talks about here. Okay, great. Hope that was helpful, and see you soon.